Bang, we're starting. Go ahead.
What's up? I don't want to open with this. It was meant to be a natural conversation starter.
I want to hear what it is.
I was going to say, for some that are watching the video feed, you'll notice that I'm looking considerably more haggard.
I haven't noticed that at all.
Oh, thank you so much, Bruce. I'm doing there's the No Shave November. I'm doing No Shave Apocalypse, man. I'm like, I want to grow out and not do any sort of grooming whatsoever until social distancing is off.
That's disgusting.
And then I'll look great again. Yeah, that's it gross. Is. But at least in that time, I'm going to feel like I'm living through the apocalypse. We see all these protagonist characters in the little video games running around in Fallout or wherever, and they all look like cavemen. And we're all like, oh, wow, what a powerful figure, the protagonist. Mm-hmm. I want that to be me, guys. I want to be sitting at my desktop playing my comfortable Animal Crossing game. And I want to look like absolute trash, and I want to feel powerful. So that's my that's what I'm doing this month. How about you guys?
This sounds to me like you want to be lazy. That's what it sounds like.
Sounds like that to me as well.
Because I've seen a lot of people outside jogging and walking their dogs and keeping their distance.
Trying to keep it right, trying to keep it good. You could just wear a hat.
Jogging.
You can still shave. There's no shortage on shaving gel. I got some. If you're having a rough time, I'll just squirt it in my palm and carry it over to you. I'm sure the police will agree that that's a necessary, vital task.
I brought it up because Brucey said that you could see my shit-eating grin. I usually can hide that pretty well, but with this mustache grown out, it's like you can see it, like the entire face contorts to show when I've got a shit-eating grin, which I often do have. It's often shit-eating.
I have
I've noticed that.
There was a possible counterpoint, and let me say that I believe in this this idea because I considered it as well. A couple of days ago, I got up to shave, and I'm like, why am I even bothering? Who cares? It's time to start looking like it's in the future and the world's falling apart. However, it is worth considering that whenever there is somebody who is haggard and adorably disheveled in the future, they are either set dressed that way or designed to look that way by artists to be kind of adorably rugged.
Let me counter that, Lawrence. I consider myself an artist.
Okay.
I am an artist too, and therefore my choice to let myself go haggard and vague hobo influencer look, I think is a defendable one because I have artistic integrity.
Let me counter this. I'm going to counter all of that by saying, what happens if none of us are artists? You ever think about that?
Then everything goes, and there is no laws in the universe, and there's no authority because art is the authority.
By the way, speaking of artists, welcome to the Talk to the Internet podcast. This podcast is brought to you by
3 artists.
NordVPN. Well, yes, the 3 of us, 3 artists, and also NordVPN, who is sponsoring this podcast /artist talk.
Can we change it to Artist Talks to the Internet? Because I think
we can rebrand it.
Yeah, that feels more in line for me.
Can't wait.
One thing I've never heard Criken refer to himself as, it's an artist.
What?
But you're not around me enough then. I have. It makes a lot of sense now, huh? Now that you think about it,
I think about it, Criken, he's truly an artist.
Try to find more of an artist than me, and you're gonna have a hard time.
Van Gogh.
Well, I mean, okay, all right. Bruce, come on, let's give Criken a shot here.
He didn't make videos on the internet, so already I'm leagues ahead of him.
That's true, absolutely true.
I've got the full potential of my life to make art, and that I consider art as well. The potential to make art applies to your art credit.
So we are all judged by the art and creations we have the potential to make and not actually ever do. Kind of in the way that we should be judged on our potential to be attractive and not by our actual grooming habits or the hair that may be on our faces. Is that what you're saying?
Thank you, Lawrence. I really couldn't put it better myself. The disheveled man you see in front of you is the potential for so many different faces because I'm hiding behind all of this haggard.
I'm going to counter all this. I'm going to counter the counter, and and say you should be judged on the things you do, not your potential. How about that, guys?
That's a lot of effort, dude.
What a safe stance to take, Bruce.
Yeah.
I'm out here, the artist, going on a limb, trying to change the way we see, creative production across the board, creative integrity, everything. And here you are going back to basics. We are what we do. Blah blah blah. Come on. Let's try to have a conversation here.
If there's one person I want to be, it's Batman. It's not.
Well, hold on, Bruce.
It's not who we are. It's what we do.
But do you think you have the potential to be Batman?
I mean, I have the potential to be Batman, but that doesn't mean I am Batman.
Well, you know what, Bruce? I think that means you are Batman.
What? Really?
Batman.
I think that's what that means. Well,
and we're all Joker, and we're all.
Now hold on.
The moon,
what?
and we're the sun. Yeah, we can be anything.
So, okay, so now you're hitting a bit of a logical contradiction there. So, if we all have the potential to be anything, and by the transitive property, that means that we are all everything all the time.
Yes.
Then, do we have identity or individuality anymore? Or have we all merged into some kind of giant potential orb of internet energy?
We are all one thing, is what Lawrence is saying.
Am I Half-Life 3?
We are.
Yeah. Are we individuals?
We are the shared soul, and we are living multiple trajectories at the same time.
Did you guys eat edibles too? What's going on?
It sounds like Criken's he's been in his head for the last 2 weeks in self-isolation, not talking to anybody. He's
making up his own language.
He's got hair all over his face. He's never had that before. He hasn't washed his hands in days because he hasn't gone outside. Well, you haven't gone outside. So
I do go outside. I got this coffee from outside, and then I came back and I washed my hands.
And he's just been, he's not been exposed to other people because no one's held him accountable for his crazy opinions.
This is the internet. I am in my prime. No one can check me in real life. I can go on my forum and I type out my one soul theory, and everyone says upvote. Haven't heard that one before. And then I feel powerful. And I do it again.
I mean, I'm trying to think, because there have been a variety of amusing crackpot theories around the internet that kind of break out, like Time Cube. Do you guys remember that? Bit of a classic. You guys don't remember Time Cube?
No, I don't know.
I don't remember the details of it, but yeah.
Oh, boy, I don't quite either. Let me... I think it might... My website's still got to be up. Time Cube. Time Cube was a personal webpage. This is from Wikipedia. Founded in 1997 by the self-proclaimed wisest man on Earth, who turns out is not Criken, at least.
Well,
yeah, it actually is, because you had the potential
of my life. Yeah.
Yeah, Otis Eugene Jean Ray, a self-published outlet for Ray's theory of everything called Time Cube, which polemically claims that all modern science is participating in a worldwide conspiracy to teach lies by omitting his theory's alleged truth that each day actually consists of 4 days occurring simultaneously. Alongside,
I remember this now.
Yeah.
What?
Alongside these statements, Ray described himself as a godlike being with superior intelligence who has absolute evidence and proof for his views. Ray asserted repeatedly and variously that academia had not taken Time Cube seriously, which he's actually 100% correct about. Time Cube is... Anyway, yeah, each day has like 4 rotational days that are all happening at the same time.
The best part, though, is there are videos, multiple videos of him going to universities to lecture, and then the students ripping them apart, but he doesn't like flinch. Like every answer he gives is like another like loop
logical fallacy.
Logic fallacy and loop that he just says, and they're like, no, and then he just says like, well, that's because you're not thinking of the Time Cube or something like that. Like he just has like a gotcha that only applies to his theory.
Circular logic rules. Anyway, Criken, I believe strongly that you can be the next. What was his name?
What it takes.
Ray. Yeah, Otis Eugene Jean Ray.
I think there is definitely a. Well, okay, this is a little more like serious of a topic, but the skills necessary to like stream and like be an online personality, I think lend themselves really well to something like that, where you're like really good at getting people going and believing a thing that you can
that's called a cult leader.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Or an influencer.
And influencers are well primed to be cult leaders, and I'm waiting to see like a bad example of this. There might already be some out there. I don't know.
Onesian? Like there are a few.
Oh, there are. Yeah.
Yeah, there are a few.
There's quite a lot. I mean, think about it. But it's mostly just like done via like toxic fan bases, I guess, and then they activate their cult via like buying merch. I guess it's not that bad. Oh, Athene. That's what I was trying to think about. Athene. That's the one that was like really.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. He went in, didn't he?
He did. He was
That's
like,
wonderful.
Hey, this is my crypto. It doesn't do it. Like, you're not going to get your money back. And they're like, okay.
Sure.
Just dump money into it.
Yeah. Wait. So is he really? Because I see MC in Lawrence's chat saying he's a cult leader now. Is that actually true?
Kind of. Yeah. He's got like a compound and people and.
That's a cult. Yep.
Yeah. There's like he has like a. It's creepy because like. I don't know. It's amazing how similar it all is, but the people who are in it cannot recognize how culty it all is.
Yeah.
But yeah. They're trying to play it off as a music festival. Yeah, they raised up tons of money.
Wait, Jared Leto?
Well.
People say Jared Leto. I didn't know who we were talking
about. Are you talking about the camp that he has?
Well, no. So people are saying in my chat, Jared Leto has an island cult.
Man, that girl's just annihilating that sandwich. Good for her.
That's great. I don't actually know that though. I didn't know that Jared Leto Scientology is, I think, defined as a cult. I'm pretty sure it is defined as a cult. But.
So I'm going to be that guy. What's the actual literal definition, the distinction between religion and cult?
That's a great question. Can you do me a favor and look it up?
I'm on it.
That's a great question. You do it.
Well, because if I do it, it's going to fuck up the entire setup.
Totally.
Yeah, no. Bruce can't touch anything. Let's see here.
Scroll. Because they're not. I don't know that there are many differences, to be honest with you.
There's so many words here. Bottom line it for me.
Give me a headline.
Baltimore Sun. Let's see.
I want to spout a simple log line.
Yeah, I just want one sentence. But it's math, dude. What's the difference between a cult and religion? Not easy to say. God damn it, Sam Fleisch hacker. This is not what I clicked on this BaltimoreSun.com article for.
Just Google cult definition and religion definition and see what the difference is.
That's all right. Some chats are going in. They're saying a cult is where the leader is alive. A religion is where the leader is dead. Oof.
I don't actually know that that's the. I mean, maybe.
Well, that doesn't.
I don't think that's the actual definition. But like that is an interesting.
But like Heaven's Gate, I guess. Yeah, I guess there's a leader. There's somebody who's. Let's see here. Yeah, and actually, this author. This is an op-ed, but suggests the difference between a cult and religion is about 100 years. And that's it.
Oh yeah, because you.
So that means like if it sticks around after the leader's demise, then, you could argue. But like even then, are they like? Wouldn't a religion have to follow a doctrine of some kind, or does it not even have to? It just has to like idolize a single individual, or idea. I don't know. I think there's.
Well, a lot of religions don't idolize a single individual.
Sure.
Jesus.
But what I'm saying is a lot of religions don't. Roman gods and Greek gods, shit like that. That was they were
pantheons.
15, 20
I see what you mean.
So it wasn't always just because there's one's one's a deity, or it's monotheistic, and then I think polytheistic. Polytheistic means a lot of gods, and monotheistic one.
Yeah.
So like the Christian religion, I think we assume is monotheistic because that's one god. But then like polytheistic would be the Greek pantheon.
It's also worth noting, everyone, that I don't think that any of the three of us studied religion.
Nope.
Any capacity,
but we had
anything's wrong.
We had the potential to study religion,
so we do speak only the truth. So there's kind of two different perspectives here.
I mean, Criken, by your own belief structure, which I am fully on board with at this point, I believe in my capacity to have studied religion.
Yes,
which means that right now I, in fact, have already studied religion.
You are an expert in your version of the universe at religion,
and that's just as valid as anyone else's. I won't. I'll actually reject any evidence contradicting my inherent beliefs. And if I'm presented with any such evidence, I will use that as fodder to double down on my beliefs.
Going one step further, if you donate to my Twitch stream, $4.99 a month.
This is a cult. It's a cult.
You will be activated on a next level cult. Within not only your own reality, you will also have the ability to post emotes from my reality in my channel anywhere else.
Bad news.
That's a deal.
Website.
That's a deal, baby.
Bad news. It's a cult.
And that's how you activate a cult, baby. See,
we're 15 minutes in, and before, whereas Criken's ideas felt really, like lofty and really thoughtful. Now that I've heard them for 15 minutes, they sound like total bullshit.
What? Bruce, how dare you?
Defend me, Lawrence. Defend me.
I think you're going to need to renounce Bruce's status as Elder Mason of the Criken Cult.
Yes.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be anything.
Lawrence, the new Elder Mason of the Criken Cult. Your first objective is to get rid of Bruce.
Yeah, Bruce, you're out. Sorry, bud.
What are you talking about? Do you kill people in your cult?
Not that you know of, not that the media knows of. But then again, if we're capable of it, it's already happened. So why even talk about it?
That's a good point.
And if the media's in on it, if they know what's good for them.
Yeah, exactly.
So interestingly, the cult entry in Wikipedia actually admits that this sense of the term is controversial and has divergent definitions in both popular culture and academia, and it has been an ongoing source of contention among scholars across several fields of study. So absolutely. The actual I guess I assume there was like, if your organization does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's a cult. I suspect that they can't do that because there might be too much overlap with organized religion. And then there'd have to be some really arbitrary distinction so that churches don't get shut down for being culty.
I mean, honestly, by the lack of definition, I would argue that like Twitch streaming in general, or just influencer culture, is very cult-like. Like
it's very cult-like. Yes,
it's propping up an individual's perspectives, humor, personality, looks, whatever you want to call it, on a pedestal, and having people kind of flock to that and being like, I associate with this, I vibe with this, I'll buy into whatever nonsense they're spouting.
Well, for years, people, I mean, like they still do, they still call Apple a cult because it was the cult of Jobs. It was Steve Jobs. Yeah. People followed Steve Jobs to anything and everything. And like we would probably define most cults is by giving them money, and that's what people did for Apple. Is that anything Apple released, they'd give them money. It didn't matter how shitty or expensive or whatever it was, they would do it. And that's obviously, it wasn't a real cult like we think of cults, but a lot of people would refer to it as such. And like you're kind of referring to the same thing, which is like Twitch streaming. There's one person out there, like Tifu or whatever, that everybody's like, this dude is the fucking best at video games. He knows what he's talking about. Like, I'm gonna give him $100 a month or whatever. Because not because it's like, not even because they want to support him, because maybe they idolize it, maybe they worship. I don't know, I'm not sure.
I think it gets even more on the nose when you get to like some of the YouTube fandoms, and especially like when you start to get into like men's rights stuff. Then it is almost literally culty, because you have a figurehead who promises something in exchange for following their belief structure. So if you want to be generous about it, like organized religion promises like peace, love, prosperity, direction in life, a higher purpose, constructive activities. Like it promises a bunch of pro-social things in exchange for following their dogma, following their religion. Hopefully, constructive philosophies are always spread. A lot of that is mirrored, I think, in some YouTube circles where dudes will be like, if you do what I say, then you'll get everything you want. You'll get women, you'll get money. Right, And I think what kind of tips it over into cult status for me is when they start inoculating their audience against any like insurgent information. So even in a vacuum, being like, they're out there and they're going to tell you this, and here's why that's bullshit. So you already start like forming this like immune system around the belief structure that you're pitching. But all of it is, like you said, Criken, all of it's commoditized. Is like you have a Patreon, you have like all of these revenue models, and Jesus Christ. Dude getting just boom. There's a lady about to sneeze, and this dude with like a quick draw just hits her with a spray right before she can get it out.
It's like a bunch of cleaner right in her face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Headshot. Yeah, exactly. Probably not J-code. Damn, that's a quick scope for the ages. But yeah, I don't know. I'm actually, what fascinates me most about that whole vibe you guys are all talking about of like online monetization of cult personality and all that, is I feel pretty strongly that the people who do it aren't even aware that they're actually emulating all those like cult leader techniques. They just fall into them because they work so well. People just know that like when I speak like this, or I present my opinions in this way, or I title and thumbnail my videos a certain way, that they get more clicks and people get more attached to them and more attracted to them. And yeah, I see like it's almost like natural selection of like people are evolving their ways of sort of cultivating fan bases without knowing that the techniques they're using are pretty closely falling in line with pastors and ministers and cult leaders, and even the way YouTubers talk sometimes. I'm like, you sound like a pastor. Damn.
Yeah.
And yeah, I grew up in a church, so it's like there's something about that pastor voice that just kind of hits my DNA real hard.
That's interesting.
Yeah. It's oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. What you're saying is right. It's totally on the news. And I saw somebody in my chat say like, well, we're all here, like we're all supporting and then they said we're all here supporting and worshiping somebody. And I want to make sure and say, no, what? Don't ever worship.
What? Wait.
Screen. Don't ever worship Bruce Green.
What do you?
That is not the right choice. Now, support is a huge deal, right? That's a big deal. When you come support me, that's fucking great. I love it. I'll keep making the content I make. Don't worship me.
What have I been doing this last 5 years, Bruce? Every day I kneel in front of your apartment. Haven't you seen the presents I leave for you?
And it's really important, like, because like another thing, Lawrence, you said that was really on the nose, which was once the cult leader starts saying like, oh, that person over there that said something bad about me, that's a lie. Believe what I say, don't believe what they said. Yeah. And that is then you're starting to hide information from other people, and that's really bad. Mm-hmm. That is really, really bad. So
I think a big part of it, you mentioned like kind of the voice of, you know, a pastor. I think ritual is a big part of it, and I think a lot of the big kind of channels on YouTube or that kind of rely on this have a ritual that they kind of go through, you know, either in their language, in, you know, the activations they have with their audience, or kind of any number of those things. Yeah, it's
down to like naming your audience, having phrases that you repeat, having motions you repeat, the brofist shit. Like,
yeah.
It's weird because I believe, like I said before, I really believe pretty firmly that people that do that don't do it because they're like, oh, rituals cause endearment in the human experience, so I will start doing that.
I would, I'd say the vast majority is not like a research thing. It's just kind of it
evolves because people like it. Like I've noticed like people will ask, what do we call ourselves in like Twitch chat and stuff like that. I'm like, you guys need a name? You're just a group of people. Not everything has to be branded and like, but people enjoy that sense of community, and people enjoy
to put it in a box and have a, you know,
branding and commodifying. Yeah, it's just wild to me how much the human experience can recreate the same circumstances in different places and in different formats.
Lawrence and I, we speak for ourselves, by the way. If you want to worship Criken, you totally can.
Well, and also you can worship me too. That's
more than welcome to worship.
My cult's open too.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. You can worship Lawrence as well, I guess, apparently.
Handing out flyers at the bus station, but there's no one there because no one wants to get sick.
Well, you know what? We started off 25 minutes of cult talk.
Yeah, this is... We're
talk about video games.
We're very good at SEO on this podcast. Is
Three huge video games just came out. And what should we start? What do you guys want to start with? Animal Crossing, Doom, or Half-Life?
Half-Life.
You want to talk about Half-Life?
Crossing.
Oh wait, all right. Criken says let's start with Animal Crossing.
Did he say? Oh, I thought he said Indigo Prophecy. It's like, hell yeah, dog.
Oh, you want to talk about Indigo Prophecy?
No.
Let's go back. Let's talk about Indigo Prophecy.
I don't want to talk about Indigo.
The game.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
Have you played that game?
I have, yeah.
Okay, this is now an Indigo Prophecy stream.
That was the first game that introduced me to David Cage. That is brilliant.
It's the most David Cage game there is out of any of them. Have you gotten to the after credit scene? Did you finish it?
Oh, I never actually finished it. I got stuck.
Oh, my friend, you have to finish that game. It gets only crazier. Okay, for reference, Bruce, so David Cage, the brilliant man behind Heavy Rain and...
I don't know about brilliant, but yes, I know, yes.
Yes. This was his, I would argue, his magnum opus, which came before all of the more well-known games. But Indigo Prophecy is a super French, vaguely notes of racism that you can kind of chalk up to ignorance. It's just like, it was written by someone that clearly didn't, like...
No wonder you guys like it.
All right. The deal is, like... You play as a guy who's like horribly depressed, but also becomes kind of like a supervillain / hero. You have superpowers sometimes, kind of. There's like a cult thing happening. You keep going back in time. The best part about it was like you have a mental health meter, and if you see something that's like vaguely sad, you lose mental health kind of stats.
Oh, yeah.
And if you get below a certain point, your guy just kills himself no matter what. You can't do anything about it.
What? Really?
There's a part in the game where you're walking around your apartment and you can like interact with shit. And I was so low on the mental health thing. I'm like, all right, guys, we gotta be very careful. Whatever I touch is not going to upset me. I'm like, all right, this is, I like walk over to the bathroom and I'm like, all right, I can go to the bathroom, right? That'll probably make me feel better. And he's like, the plumbing's not working. And then it just like mental health deteriorated 5. And he says, well, that's the end of my story. And he just leaps out the fucking window. And I'm like,
oh my gosh.
He goes from like, oh man, the plumbing's not working to like just full on killing himself.
This sounds like a masterpiece of a game that I don't want to talk about anymore.
Yeah, sorry, Half-Life.
Okay. All right, fine. You start.
You can jump out a window in Half-Life.
Let's talk about Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is nice and fun and relaxing, and it's perfect for this time that everybody's going through in the world. How much have you played it, Lawrence?
Not as much as I would have liked. I don't know. Steph and I are approaching that game in 2 very different ways. She is power gaming it. She already got her like 3rd house expansion.
Wow.
Yeah, she's been hitting up Spider Island to bank up 200,000 bells over and over again. Yep. She is a professional. My shop should be open now, and I think the museum's open, so that's exciting.
Good. Is she time traveling or no?
No, she's not a filthy Animal Crossing cheater.
Okay.
That would not be allowed in this house. I'll say that. Yeah, someone with depression, there isn't anything more defeating than having a broken toilet. Yeah, actually, that adds up. Sorry.
I can argue with that.
brief ejection from chat there. Personally, I do agree though. It is the right game for this time because it is a game about socializing. It is a game about serenity. It is a game that's about not having like a stressful and direct task in front of you.
Yeah.
And it's just like so much of the game is calming. The lilting acoustic guitar, going to the museum and just experiencing like serene calm while you're just watching fish float around. Yeah. Theoretically, these are all things that could happen in real life. But we kind of can't enjoy those moments right now. So yeah, it has been wonderful. And also like, it's just nice too because I think people, especially in these dark times, are looking for society and engagement and socialization, and you can get a lot of that through the game, both literally by visiting islands and stuff like that, but also indirectly. There's always really strong communities that pop up of people sharing patterns and trading tips and like sending fruits and like not vegetables, but like couches and stuff to people. Yeah. So it's been really cool to see. And yeah, it's just nice. It feels good.
The first day the second day I played it, I just opened my gates and I was like, "Here's my room code, chat, jump in." And it was so nice because like, even barring Nintendo's terrible online system, which is really bad when people will get in. Once they're on the island, everybody's doing things for you. Like somebody starts weeding and like somebody starts like getting wood and somebody's like,
"Wait, you're letting them take all your weeds?"
Yeah, of
course. Bruce, you're getting taken for a ride, bro. Those are your weeds.
It was just really like it was, and yes, of course, I was streaming it, so everybody's. But also that is a time that people could be really mean and like try and do like the meanest possible thing, but nobody did that. It was like the most wholesome thing, and everyone was like, it was funny. I was like standing in a group with everybody. And I just saw people like shitting out stuff for me and everybody else, like just like ladders and axes and like all sorts of cool and like oranges. And I was like, wow, this is making me feel really, really good.
Yeah, for me, I think the really nice thing about it is like there's so much that we can't control right now in the world, and this is a game where there are so many little achievements and objectives and moments of control and authorship that they give you that like I can feel that part of me that needs some element of like, okay, at least this is sacred, and I think they do an amazing job of, it's the perfect time for this game. So I've really appreciated that.
You can also
really is.
Yeah, feel immediately productive.
Yeah, exactly.
it's nowhere near the same. I often wondered sometimes if real life were that simple, if you could just get a stack of wood, hit it twice with a hammer, and then a chair pops out. Would everyone do it, or would people still sit inside and play video games? I don't know. But it is nice to like make a thing, even if it's not real, especially if it's something that somebody else wants. That's one of the cooler, or one of the more rewarding parts is like, I might find a recipe or a piece of furniture, and then stuff will be like, ooh, I want that. And I'm like, well, I don't. So I can feel good about giving it to you and then seeing you put it on the wall and stuff like that. It is, if you wanted to read too much into it, like I remember The Sims has had similar vibes, and then some people were like, well, wait a minute, this game's just celebrating materialism. And like, sure, whatever. If said that? Yeah,
people say a lot of things. Everyone's got a platform, basically.
So yeah, if you want to get too thinky about it, you can find something bad in anything, I suppose. I don't know that anyone's saying that about Animal Crossing. It just occurred to me that I should feel guilty about deriving pleasure from giving somebody a bench. My mind typically finds ways to twist things that are wholesome and pure into things that I should feel guilty about. I guess that's religion coming back again.
I was gonna say. Yeah. All right, you guys talk about Half-Life Alyx. I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, you don't want to spoils?
I guess he doesn't want to spoil it.
Okay.
All right.
We'll talk about it without spoilers too, because I imagine there's a lot of people in chat that haven't played it. And
yeah, I mean, I didn't expect to play through the entire. I mean, I would have played through the entire game on that first day if my legs and head didn't hurt.
I'm glad you said that, because my feet were getting a little achy. Like, not too bad, but like the second day I played it, I sat down for a little bit because I was taking a break, and my body was like, "Oh yeah, oh this is right. Don't get up again." And I was like, "Well, okay." But yeah, I was curious, like, because the demo they showed for Alyx was like dudes were like crawling and like squatting behind cover and like popping up and shooting, and I was like, that is a lot of movement for people who are used to just like moving their wrists a little bit to do everything. I'll say that, like, man, it is so cool though. Holy crap. To be able to like actually recreate those moments and feel like you're actually there.
It is an unbelievable, like, I beat it yesterday, and no spoilers. No, I won't.
Yeah, no spoilers at all.
It's early on. The game just came out. So I beat it yesterday, and I'm trying to remember the last time, like, television was probably my hero. But before that, I don't remember the last time I felt this way, where I was thinking about something for so long, in terms of the lore, in terms of the medium I was playing in terms of how they made it. I have no idea how they made this video game. No clue. And it's just like, my mind is exploding with 1,000 thoughts trying to figure out what they did with this game. And that's why I tweeted what I tweeted, because like I tweeted it out and I knew people were going to be like, but I can't afford VR. It's so fucking shitty. Oh man, it sucks. And I'm like,
wait, what did you tweet out? I think I missed it.
I just tweeted out like it's, well, not only is it one of the greatest games I've ever played, but also it's just a completely unique experience. It's just something that I never would have guessed was a thing. I had never done it before. And I don't know that it exists other than this game. And a lot of people, I definitely, like, rightfully so, are upset the fact that they can't play it. That makes total sense to me. That's why I streamed it. One of the reasons I streamed it was because I truly did not think I was going to want to play the entire game. But I streamed it because I wanted people to see what it was like. But now that I've finished it, I'm like, holy shit, you have to try it for yourself. You can't not do it. And but people still can't get it because it's a shitload of money to spend. It's another console, basically. You're buying a whole other console.
And then some, yeah.
Yeah, and then some.
2 other consoles, basically, for one game. And not even the shadow of a promise of more to come. The implication of more to come, but certainly probably never to the scale or the expansiveness of Alyx. So it is a tough sell, yeah. It reminds me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just said I get it. I totally understand.
It reminds me a lot. Kind of what you're talking about is that, like, that moment of wonder. It's been a while since I think we've had something like that in gaming, and I've lamented about this for a while. Of like, technology used to be primitive enough that each new technological innovation was like a whole new world. So, you would go from 8-bit to 16-bit systems, and then you would have really rudimentary like sprite scaling and things like that. But games that use it for the first time, like Pilot Wings or something like that, you'd be like, oh my god, this is it. But also when you would play that, you'd be like, this is incredible, or like F-Zero or something. I don't know. I'm only thinking of Super Nintendo launch titles, but you'd be like, this is incredible, but also I see how it could get better like right away. But still, this is really cool. And then 3D, like real-time 3D came around, and that was incredible too. And like playing Mario 64 for the first time, of like using the analog stick and moving Mario in 3 dimensions.
Yeah. Yes.
And the fact that a whole game was made around that technology and did it really, really well. I would play Mario 64 and then walk away and think about it for a long time because it was just a whole other world to be in. I haven't felt that since Half-Life Alyx. Or sorry, I don't know when the last time I really felt that was, but Half-Life Alyx feels like that again. Where it's, this is the first time in a long time that a new technology, a new interface, a new way of presenting a video game, and then a new control system and new game mechanics have all come together to create a new experience that does finally, I feel like, define the platform and what's possible on it. But, boy, it's tough. Because, it's... For an index, it's $1,000 for the kit. It's more money for a gaming PC unless you already have one. And who knows? Who knows if it's remotely a viable platform? Before Alyx, it was pretty obvious that it wasn't. And even developers were saying as much as like, there was a lot of money flowing into VR dev, but none was coming back out of it because no one was buying anything.
Yeah, that's the catch. I did see people keep saying, well, it's got an over $1,000 barrier to entry, and it doesn't. You can buy VR headsets for between $300 and $500 US, but again, that's a shitload of money. That's a lot of money, and if you've got the gaming PC, the requirements are not that bad for this video game. But again, I completely see your side of it. It doesn't feel good to have it behind this barrier of entry. That you're not going to experience. However, probably in like 3-4 years or so, when Half-Life Alyx is probably going to be in the rear view, you'll be able to play it. But it's just so ahead of its time. It's almost too far ahead of its time. Going back to your examples, Lawrence, it was like when I first played Halo on the Xbox controller, where I had 2 analog sticks and I could move my person while moving. That was a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
For me, and I remember like, this is a totally game-changing thing that I'm actually controlling, and I never knew it could feel this way, and that's the way Half-Life Alyx feels. It feels completely unique yet familiar.
Yeah. It would be nice to believe that this is like a new standard for games. I still don't know if that's even possible or viable.
Yeah.
Because I wonder I'm hoping, well, it might be too much to hope for, but it'd be nice if Valve releases the number of index kits they put out. I'm sure they're telling developers, right? It's like, oh, now there's so many more people using Steam VR. You got to start putting games on Steam VR, baby. Maybe. Hopefully the VR devs that have put out good stuff, Beat Saber and Gorn and, was it Moss? Like, it'd be nice if those developers were getting a lift now, because hopefully there's going to be people with like VR kits that are going to be looking for more to play. Unfortunately, the volume isn't super, super high. So yeah, it's 8 weeks if you want an index. Ugh.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I was telling people, because people were like, should I get the index for this game? And I was like, I'm sure it'll play really well, like the best on the index. But if you've got the money, buy the Rift S or the Quest or like something like that you can get right now and play the game like right now. Don't wait 8 weeks for the index, spend $1,000 on it. I don't know that you'll feel like it lived up to what you wanted it to live up to. That said, though, as soon as you play this game, you're going to realize why this is a literal game-changing moment. It really is. Like, there's nothing anywhere close to this on VR at all. Nowhere close.
Yeah, it's all. It reminds me of like VR. Up until now, reminded me a whole lot of just early video games in general. That was all arcade experiences. It was like 5 minutes long. It was a very simple gameplay loop. And because nobody really knew any of the standards of like how to make an experience that lasted more than an hour. So this is kind of, it seems like the first game that's like, no, this is how to do it. Or Resident Evil 7, I guess, was pretty close to it too. It's been fun to see the scene sort of evolve and discover like controller templates and interface standards that make sense to people. And I feel like it was kind of driving towards this, where now not only do we have a lot of that stuff maybe not figured out, there's still some ways to go, but a lot of the rough spots have been polished over. And now there's a full game with like AAA level assets and everything that makes a whole experience. And like just I think Bruce, you mentioned it in your tweet too, the valviness of the game, like the pacing of it is spot on.
It's perfect.
Yeah. That's one thing that Valve Software was always so incredible at with all the Half-Life titles, was just the environments you move through and the pace you do it at. It feels so incredible because like Half-Life 1 is just an awesome kind of clinic for how to do pacing in a first-person shooter. You'd have like wide open environments outside, then you go underground, very claustrophobic. You'd have like bright areas going to dark areas, and it just felt like an awesome roller coaster where every time you started to get used to or tired of a certain environment, boom, you would be in a new one. And it just really created this awesome sort of emotional flow, because also a lot of Half-Life games kind of take place of one person's experience over the span of like 8 hours, just direct. There's no stopping, there's no like next day kind of thing going on. So yeah, it's just like a really cool flow of like a road journey of whatever happens, and this game has that again. And it wasn't until I was in like chapter 4 or 5 where I was like, wow, it actually feels like a Half-Life game. And I did not think that was going to happen. I really didn't. I was so skeptical, and I have to eat my words. I'll be honest. I was very dismissive of Half-Life Alyx. I thought it was going to be like a 5-hour cash in to try to sell more VR headsets so Valve could goose their VR platform. Yeah. But no, it's a genuine effort. It's a full game, and it is very Half-Life, and that's awesome.
I've seen people ask this question too. Is like somebody in your chat, Rock Lobster, just said, "Did you both buy your index, or was it given to you from Valve?" Valve didn't hand these out. We both bought them.
Yeah, we bought them.
I bought mine in December, and I didn't get it till February. This was because it wasn't that I even had faith in Valve. I was like Lawrence, where I was like, "There's no way. There is no way they can make this Half-Life game, number one, and number two, make VR work with the Half-Life." It's like, there's no fucking way. And they did it. They did exactly what they said they were going to do, and they did it. It was just like when I played Half-Life 2, and you realized that every single thing in the world, basically everything in the world, was interactive. You could touch it all, you could throw it all, it had its own physics. You could do different things with different pieces in that world, and basically change the world you were playing in Half-Life 2, and that was a big deal for me. I was like, this is huge. This physics is going to change everything, and that's what they did in this game. But it's all in front of your face, and you're touching it all and moving it, and like it's completely different than anything you've ever. I don't know how else to say other than just play it.
Mm-hmm.
Look, you can get a chance. If you get a chance, if a friend has a VR headset or whatever, play it. You should just play it.
Yeah, Rock Lobster, I can't speak to whether or not Valve gave out headsets. I do think it's pretty smart of them with their like spectator mode, how they had a display window that has camera smoothing and a HUD, because I think they very wisely understood that a lot of people would be looking at the game from early adopters to decide whether or not they wanted to buy it. So it was pretty cool of them to make the game show well in a streaming perspective. So that, yeah, they didn't. It's possible they gave out kits to people, but Bruce and I weren't them.
Anybody that's gotten a Valve Index. Maybe Criken did, because I know he's an artist.
Yeah,
I am an artist. You should both know that of the three of us, I do not have an index. So how dare you rub that in my face? I want one. I think I might get the controllers, because I have the Vive. But,
Hey Criken. Yeah. You can borrow my index. Yeah, that's not a joke. I'll absolutely let you borrow it. 100% let you borrow it. You can play. You need to play the game. You need to play the video game.
Drop it in bleach for a few hours first.
Yeah, I'll just soak it in bleach, and then we get to go. That'd be
seriously
awesome.
though, if anytime you want to come by, I'll hand it to you through a plastic sheet and.
Yeah, Bruce, I was going to ask about that because we talked about trading some gear. How's that going to how can we now?
What do you mean? Like for microphones?
Yeah, because I got the other mix board. I mean, that's a non-essential stepping outside, right? Is there a way that like, could I pay a courier to go get it from you?
I mean, you could still go to each other's house. You just have to wear a hazmat suit.
Oh, that's true.
In California, they would like, I don't know. People are saying that cops are pulling people over and giving them tickets because they're not like going to get food or going to get medicine or going to get.
How do you prove that though?
I don't know.
You're like, I am going to get food, and they're like, are you really? I don't think so.
How hungry are you?
Yeah, I am not sure. I mean, it is. Isn't it an essential thing due to it being for work? I mean, like, yeah, maybe it is. I don't know. Either way, yeah, I'm down to give you a microphone, Lawrence.
Okay. Yeah,
I really miss your friend. I think that's essential.
Yeah, I got to smooch my bro. Come on. Yeah, we'll see.
On the way to smooch my bro.
That's pretty essential.
Try and tell me that's not essential. Try it.
Yeah, all right, you got
Test
it.
me.
But yeah, Criken, if you ever want to borrow it, it's available, and you should use it for streaming, because I think your viewers and you would benefit from streaming it.
Yeah, thing is, I really want to play the game, but I want to play it right, and until I'm able to play it on an index or with an index controller, I feel like it would be bastardized to some degree. So that's why I've been holding off.
Makes sense.
But yeah, I'm definitely excited, and thank you for the offer. It's very generous.
Are you a Half-Life fan at all, Criken? Do you like?
Yeah, I would say I'm a Valve fan, like of the kind of original games in the Orange Box. That's kind of what got me onto PC to begin with. So I kind of feel like I'm owed, like part of me is owed to that franchise. Mm-hmm. I haven't really finished the Half-Life games, so I feel like it's more that I love the engine that it created, and I love kind of the tone of it. And I kind of, but I honestly probably played more like Gmod and other stuff that came out of Half-Life than Half-Life itself, which I think most people would probably say the same. But so I kind of consider them all like more of an engine or like an environment than it is a actual IP, even though I know it is a very good IP to some.
This engine that Alex is made in Source 2, like once people start actually using it in VR, it's going to be revolutionary, just like Source was. Because it is I was seeing some game developers tweet about Half-Life Alyx and reading some articles about it, and people were like, the developers are like, nobody realizes how much work Valve put in to this game. Like how much work the animations were and how much work the physics, like nobody has any clue. And that's something that, like I was telling you, Lawrence, like the things like this game or specific movies or television shows where you just don't even realize, you don't even know, like, how did they put this together? I have no idea. I have no clue. And that's masterful. That's where you don't even see the flaws in the video game, really. It's just like, it's like watching Michael Jordan play basketball. He made it look so easy because he had put so much time and so much effort into practice. And that's what this game is. And I just don't know how they did it. I would love to see behind the scenes videos of how they did it, because I have no fucking clue. It's so cool.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty good that this game came out when it did, because it allows us to explore virtual worlds. But what if you're in a region... I'm going into an ad read, by the way, in case that wasn't obvious. What if you're in a region of the world where certain media you want to explore is blocked out to you? Well, it's time to get savvy.
Move.
Yeah, you move. No. You believe in your potential to live in another area, and thus those media services will be available to you through the glorious teachings of Lord Criken. However, that doesn't happen for free. To join the Cry Cult. There we go. To join the Cry Cult, you must also sign up for NordVPN, who is sponsoring this podcast, and then you will unlock the borders of your media consumption. Yes, this podcast is sponsored by NordVPN, that is a virtual private network. If you're unfamiliar with how those work, essentially, you connect to another server, and then all of your media requests or your internet requests come from that server, which can be in another country, which can have another IP. So, and then all your traffic between you and the server is end-to-end encrypted. So nobody can see what it is. Nobody knows where it's going. And by all intents and purposes, your internet access has been shifted to a new region of the world. And that's important because wherever you are right now, there might be Netflix offerings that you can't watch. There might be video games that aren't released in your territory. There might be all number of things that you would want to be in another region for. NordVPN can help you do that with just a few clicks. And if you're interested, go to nordvpn.com/talktointernet. We have a special code for you guys to get you 70% off a 3-year plan. And since it's NordVPN's 8th birthday, every single buyer of a 3-year plan will not only get 1 additional month for free, but a special surprise gift.
What? What do they get?
I don't know. They just said that. So, cool. Yeah, I want to.
Birthday Nord.
I wanted to sign up for it to see what that sweet gift is. Maybe it's like a phone wallpaper or something. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Was that their birthday? That was their birthday thing.
Yeah.
I think their birthday was a couple of weeks ago, so that may actually not apply.
No, I checked. I went to the...
I went. Hey, if Lawrence checked, hey, then we got it.
If you go to nordvpn.com/talk2internet, yes, as seen on YouTube, get a 3-year plan plus 1 month free.
And a gift?
I can... Actually, that's a good point. The gift. Ooh. Well, hopefully the gift is still there. If we don't get a gift, the Cry Cult may have some talks. Need that gift. Need it. Or you can just go to nordvpn.com, place your order, and use code TALK2INTERNET at checkout. TALK2INTERNET for 70% off a 3-year plan. Again, that's it anonymizes your internet usage. It makes your internet appear as though it's coming from another country. It can also protect you from if you're a streamer boy or an influencer or something like that. It can protect you from all sorts of shady internet dealings going on.
It certainly can.
Yes, but thank you, Rick, for posting that. But yes, so that's it. In this digital age of ours, especially in the United States with net neutrality gone, anonymizing your internet traffic is important, and it keeps the internet open, free, and just a good place to be. That's what we're used to it being. So once more, that's nordvpn.com/talk2internet for 70% off a 3-year plan. And you can be watching Netflix all around the world.
Thank you, NordVPN, for sponsoring this podcast. We appreciate it very much.
Does subscribing skip the more ad? Does not. But you can feel good clicking the plus 50 seconds button or whatever.
I was thinking of doing a little video, in Skyrim. Remember the Nords, and they say Skyrim belongs to the Nords. I was gonna do a video, and it says Skyrim belongs to the Nord VPN, and then we get the voice actor to do all the same ad read.
Criken, you truly are an artist. You truly are an artist.
I just wanted to say I didn't actually do the thing.
But you could have.
And then therefore I have done it. So I just wanted to share the idea with you, so you guys all can get the same joy out of it. As
well, are you gonna make it or what?
No,
it doesn't have to.
I think just saying it's enough.
Yeah. It's like sending somebody a fake couch in Animal Crossing.
Yeah, the potential for the comedy.
You're an idea guy, is what they. That's
I'm an idea guy. Look, if you want to give me some money, give me a couple talented people, give me a lot of time, give me a lot of resources, and then no accountability, I will probably come up with something great that you will be happy to have.
What's really aggravating is that there are people who find a way to work themselves into that exact position.
Lawrence is correct. That is a thing that I've seen. I've seen it many times in this industry and the television industry where somebody's been given so much money, and then the money disappears and the idea wasn't executed, but it kind of doesn't matter. For some reason, that person still gets more work, and I don't know how it's possible. I really don't.
If you've done things before, you automatically have a leg up to do another thing, even if you didn't actually do the first thing. If you're attached to it and it did a modicum of success, then it's a lot easier for you to kind of slingshot into the next thing.
And you can extract the illusion of a modicum of success out of anything.
Yeah, if you're a good salesman, you can do that very well.
Man, hype bros are awesome.
What a life. What a life.
I mean, that's work too, right? Of hustling and convincing people that you're good at a thing that you don't even do. That's a skill of a sort.
It's funny. You sound just like them, Lawrence.
Yeah.
I've actually heard people justify that by saying, well, no, that's work.
It's work to hustle people out of money.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a salesperson. And
it's like a snake oil salesman. Like they were a real thing back in the day because, they would find a mark and then convince them they wanted the product, and it's funny how that and it's still around. It's changed its form a little bit.
And if people feel good giving you money to do nothing, haven't you also provided a valuable service?
No, because then afterwards they don't feel good because they don't have the valuable service.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
But if they think they do.
But until they don't.
But they think they do, so they do, according to Criken's beliefs. So it all works out.
Now you're getting it.
Because the
Grand Mason Lawrence.
If you drink that snake oil,
love it,
and it doesn't work, then you're sick. You're still sick, so you don't feel any worse. And in reality, you feel way worse because not only did you lose a ton of money, but then you're now no longer well because the snake oil didn't work.
Well, what you gonna do?
That's when you leave. That's when you
get in your wagon and take off.
Yeah, you can get the fuck out.
Leave a few daughters and sons behind. Man, what a life! Roll into town, plow some farmers' daughters, sell some snake oil, and get the fuck out. Good times.
That's what it is. That's what it is. So, Criken, have you played Doom yet?
Yes. It was my first Doom game. I never played the other ones, and so.
Oh, really?
Wait, it's a rough intro.
I loved it. It came super natural to me. I played on the second hardest difficulty, not Nightmare, but the one right before it.
Ultraviolence.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man, I was zooming. I really enjoyed it. Let's see, how far did I get? I got to the second Hell Priest.
Okay.
And I beat the guy with the
Doom Hunter
guy. Yeah. I beat those guys.
The Minotaur with a double chainsaw for one hand and a rocket launcher for the other on a hoverboard that also has rocket launchers on it.
On a hoverboard?
Yeah, he's like on a little hovercraft.
That's awesome,
dude. Doom is it's something.
The game flow of it was like some of the best I've ever hit with any game. I was in someone described it as like a murder trance, and I think that is completely accurate. I think I maybe talked the least in that stream out of any of my streams. I barely said anything. I was just so tunnel visioned on complete ripping and tearing. But it was it was pretty great. There was one awful part though, where we were playing the first gauntlet, the purple place you go in and you fight, through everything. And I was going through that. And then it crashed in the last enemy as I was in the midst of my murder trance zone, and the game just completely cut out. And I had this visceral withdrawal sensation of just being completely cock blocked in the middle of this awesome moment, and I raged pretty hard. But aside from that, it was an awesome time.
Lawrence, I'm actually curious because I know you love the lore the most about Doom. Who is in charge of that? Who's the person that is in charge of the lore of Doom? Who's writing the stories? Who's coming up with the creatures? Who is that? Do you know?
That's a really good question. I don't know that there's one person who's dedicated lore master. I do recall before Eternal came out, somebody actually dropped by in chat and said that they worked on a group that consulted on the lore for Doom 2016. But that was pre-release. So I don't know that there's any one person that the dev team has pointed out. Hugo Martin is the creative lead, and obviously oversees everything. I don't know that he's sitting down and scribbling everything down on a napkin, but I could be wrong. Could be that.
Somebody's probably the the visionary of it, where they're I don't even know if they're hey, make that guy with a hoverboard and a arm. Because I feel there's so much creativity in the Doom franchise for that stuff, and I just wonder who's doing it. They're just amazing creature design.
Yeah, it's the not only mechanically but artistically. Yeah, all of the enemies are just ripped straight out of the edgiest 13-year-old's notebook, which is awesome. They're all binder scribbles. Down to this is a Minotaur man, but he's got tank treads for legs, and he's got a double chainsaw. But it rules because it's the thing that I love most about Eternal, and I've said this a lot, but it's Doom 2016 felt pretty wacky, but in retrospect, they actually were pretty restrained with a lot of things that they didn't need to be. In Eternal, they just didn't. Nothing's left behind. It's however we can turn everything up, let's turn it all up. So everything, the game's faster, it's louder, all the enemies are crazier. There's more of them. The level design is just bonkers. Blasting a hole into Mars just to get into its devilish center. There's a whole level. I don't know. It's great. There's nothing about it that, well, there's a couple of things that could be better, but still, it's I just love seeing unrestrained creativity. Sometimes you get that in movies where somebody, like there are some movies that are just completely not unrestrained entirely, and they're always such a delight to watch.
They're usually kind of like the auteur kind of style pieces of media, where like it was driven by a single vision, usually from one creator. But then there's also like properties like Doom, which I think is so what it is, that like as long as that definition stays true and everyone on the team understands and believes what it's trying to do, then like, yeah, it there's like a lot of creative freedom within the constraints of the identity of Doom. That makes sense. So no, like it does. Everyone knows Doom. And so within our understanding of Doom, you've got a ton of different variation on how you want to like realize it. And I definitely felt that. Like I've been familiar with the Doom franchise. I just never played it myself. I thought it was always really cool. Love the music, love the tone, love all that stuff. But yeah, it is totally different when you play it, because you can like embody this force of nature, which I think is like reinforced through almost every mechanic, which is really nice.
Yeah, I guess that's why I was asking about it, because I figured Lawrence would sort of know. But it's interesting to hear that it's more of a collective of people, and not just one dude that's out there being like, like every creature is like this. But it sounds like people have just sort of bought into the idea of what it is, and then I'm sure that there are a few people's jobs somewhere in is id, right? id Software.
Yeah.
In id that are like, that's probably not going to work in this universe, versus something that somebody comes up with and they're like, oh yeah, that's perfect. That will fit in this universe. Sort of like the, for lack of a better term, George Lucas of Doom. That's what it seems like to me. I was just wondering, because there's obviously so much imagination and creativity in the game, and that's what makes me so excited about it.
Yeah, Dr. Levin said that the writers are Hugo Martin, Gascoigne Lane, and Chad Mossholder. So I didn't know that they were credited. That's awesome. Should have paid more attention in the credits.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the same guys wrote Half-Life Alyx that had written 1 and 2.
Oh, great.
Eric Wolpaw.
That's right. They all rejoined Valve about a year ago?
Yep.
That's up, I guess. Huh.
Yeah, to make this.
What about the guy that leaked the Half-Life 3 thing? Was he not invited back?
Which guy was that?
Remember there was that post about the Half-Life 3 like story that was like had all the names changed?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. Wait, what was the name of that guy that did?
Yeah, that was like. Let me see here.
Was it? It might have been Eric. Was it Eric Wolpaw? No,
I thought it was. Mark Laidlaw. Right. It was.
Oh, it was Laidlaw. That's right.
Was he invited back or no?
Huh.
I don't know. I'm not sure, because I know he wrote I think all of the Half-Life lore, basically, and was writing those games for a long time.
He was at BioWare for a while, right?
Oh, was he? I don't know. Oh,
never mind. No, he was. Who am I thinking of? Yeah, no, he's just Half-Life 2 in the episodes. Was a writer for that.
Years ago, I forget. I can't remember if I read this or heard this, but it was people were saying that since Valve wasn't making games, the people that were the creatives at Valve were unhappy. They were like, "Yeah, well, what are we gonna do? Like, they're not making video games."
Yeah, it's like what they signed up for. And like Valve had the reputation of hiring the best of the best from every other company, and suddenly all these creatives were like sitting on piles of money coming from Steam, but not actually using their talents effectively, besides making like workshop items. Or existing games that are released, and they're just like, So yeah, I'm happy Valve's going back in the game stuff.
I hope they're going back.
That's actually why I've been talking about it so much, is because I want Valve to go back to it. Because I want them to. This was, to me, these Half-Life 1 and 2 and the episodes 1 and 2, and those were great video games with great stories. And when they stopped making them, I was super devastated. And I understood it. I got it from a business perspective. But now that they've gone back to it and made it, and everyone's like, I don't have the money, and like I'm like, please just play the game. Just find a way to play the game and play the game, because it will encourage Valve to then make more video games, whether or not it's on VR or whatever. So
yeah, I hope that's the case. I don't know. As amazing as Half-Life Alyx is, it seems pretty clear to me that Valve made it because they saw an expanded business opportunity behind it.
yeah.
Valve seems to be fully out of the realm of making games to make and sell games. That revenue seems to be so
wildly out of
it's out of their league. They don't care anymore. Like whatever take they get on one $60 game that sells and is done.
Yeah. I mean, it's comparable to Pokemon. Pokemon went the merchandise route where Valve's gone the distribution and kind of, hardware route.
But Pokemon still makes video games, though.
Yeah, but they don't, like, if you look at how much money they bring in from their video games compared to all their merch and the IP itself, like, it's, like, minuscule. Like, the video games serve primarily, I think, to get out new Pokemon that they can then send through the whole money, chute. But...
but they still make them, right?
They do, but like
they're not going to stop making Pokemon video games, are they?
But I think Criken's point is that it slips into their business model in a way to extendedly monetize something.
Right.
So when I think about Valve and how they position video games is they made Artifact because that was a monetization platform. They can keep selling cards and packs forever.
Right.
And like the profit margin on one artist making like keep art for a card is still more immediately monetizable than somebody making concept art for a game that's not going to come out for 4 years.
Yeah.
So when I think about Half-Life Alyx, I can see Valve being okay with the effort because it's to support Steam VR as a platform, which they also get a cut of everything from. So if Steam VR suddenly becomes a vibrant platform as opposed to where it is now, then their investment of the time and effort to make Half-Life Alyx pays off for years. When it comes to like making more games like that, it's tough for me to see how that would continue to serve their business interests unless they want to keep goosing the VR part of their business. But at a certain point, they're going to decide it's not worth it anymore.
I think the other option for them is around the whole Source 2 thing. In that, when they first released Source, that was a game changer for many reasons, but basically made PC gaming, and modding in PC gaming, like invented a whole new genre, right? For many years. So now that, Epic, for example, has Fortnite and is like pushing, the Unreal platform via their store and through all their kind of channels, I think Valve, you could argue, has an opportunity around Source 2 to draw, back the modding community around Steam, around that platform. At least that is what I would hope for, because I think Source modding was some of the kind of peak creativity. And if you look at so many of the different games that have flourished over the last 10 years, you can trace almost all of them back to Source mods back in, Counter-Strike and TF2 and whatever.
Yeah.
So I think if I was them, I would be looking at modding within, like, what is next-gen modding going to look like? And then how to build a platform for that. The question is, where do they get their cut from that? Now that we've been talking about like kind of how that's Valve's whole, shtick nowadays. Blizzard's approach was like the fucking flat iron hammer to the side of the head of like, hey, if you want to make any or publish any custom content on Warhammer 3, we own it. End of conversation. That would not fly. I don't think Valve is that obtuse. But, I think they have to be cognizant of the fact that they have always been built on this platform of kind of open source and modability. And I don't know, I'm personally hopeful at like, what is the idea of Source 2 and how is that going to change PC gaming?
That's what when I was playing that game, that's all I could think of was all the other different mods that could come with it. But the problem is that if Source 2 is obviously, was it Dota 2 as well, Lawrence? What else was Source 2 being used for? Was it only Alyx? I thought there was something else that they were using.
Yeah, they switched Dota 2 over to Source 2.
That's right.
And then that's where all the data miners found references to HLVR, which now we know what that was. And that was like 2 years ago.
That was like it was a while back. And I guess what I'm trying to say there is that hopefully Source 2 will be used for something other than VR.
I believe it will be.
I really do, because I mean, like right now it's super.
Well, then they're competing with Epic, right? Engine licensing used to be such a big industry, and Epic got tons of money from licensing Unreal to everybody. But like then publishers started doubling down on their own engines. So like EA was like, "We'll use Frostbite on everything. We'll save so much money." It's funny to see like the beats that led to decisions that then turned out very poorly. I wonder now with like Epic is basically giving away their engine for free. So to have Source
store now for people to launch their games on.
Yes. So. Epic is it's funny because the pipeline that Valve was setting up, but doing so without really any competition in the space, Epic just bullied in and did it with intent. Like just set it all up real fast and real hard.
I think it's so important. Like, I mean, even Gabe himself was interviewed about this and says like it's painful in the short term, but like, you know, competition's good in the long term because now, you know, Valve is in a position where they can respond with, okay, you know, Unreal is great and all, but what about, you know, we give you tools to make stuff in Source 2 and publish your own games using Source. Like, I mean, I'm not sure that's the direction they're going to go, but like that is theoretically an approach they could take. You know,
Criken, I very much believe that what you're saying is correct. I don't know that they would have been motivated to make this game, Half-Life Alyx, and to push their engine if the Epic had not come in with the Epic Store and Fortnite and like roared into the gaming industry, destroying everybody else around. So, and
there's also just like Steam finally got an update. Like the library looks different. Theoretically, they could have done that anyway, but it took them about 8 years to revamp the page. I actually like the way it looks now. It still kind of runs terribly, but that's okay. So yeah, I don't know. It's Epic bullying in, and now like Good Old Games has a really aggressive refund policy. For all the anger that Epic was just buying their way into the market, it really has kind of pushed a lot of other people to try and capture people's business back. Which I guess it's weird. It's weird that like all of this was said out loud. I remember, what's the Epic guy's name?
Not Sweeney.
Tim Sweeney, yeah.
Oh yeah. He
was just straight up like, "This is gonna be good, guys. You guys just got to chill out for a little bit." And everyone is screaming at him. But I feel like now we're kind of like you guys said, we're literally seeing the fruits of it.
Yeah.
I really
maybe not literal fruit. That'd be delicious.
Yeah.
I have some bananas that are starting to go brown. I got to get in those boys.
Get in them.
And I got a bidet to hook up. It's a busy day over here at the Lawrence Palace.
That's great. Eat a banana on the bidet, on your throne.
Yeah, start to finish. My pipeline is secure.
Yeah. I was going to say, so I already know a couple of people that, you know, use Source Filmmaker that have been able to, you know, they've been given a pipeline on how to get Half-Life Alyx assets and maps into Source Filmmaker, which to me is game changing because that game is incredible. That's a next level of graphical, I think, you know, like style and, you know, what you can accomplish with that. And, you know, we were talking about whether or not Source 2 is built exclusively for VR or not. I mean, Source Filmmaker is not a VR like platform. It's made for, you know, passive consumption of video. So I think the fact that it's compatible with that would lead me to believe that it's not exclusively VR. It's meant to be kind of a, you know, a new approach that is VR ready, but doesn't have to be necessarily. So we'll see, you know.
I really hope so. I really hope so. That's a big deal. Because again, the Source engine, when did that come out? 2008?
Oh yeah.
A while back. I feel like that reinvigorated all of Valve's properties. Like,
wasn't Half-Life 2 on Source?
2004.
Yeah.
2004, there you go. Because that was Source engine with Half-Life 2. Yeah, that's right. Because that came out in 2004. So that would be Counter-Strike Source. That would be Team Fortress 2. That would be like all of those games that we played now for years. So I just want that same renaissance with this game. You know, I want that and all those games. I don't know if Valve's going to do it or not. So
it's the landscape's different now.
It is.
PC gaming was not in a good space in the mid 2000s. It was all console at the time.
Yep.
There was things like Stalker. Like every so often, the middle of Europe would put out one game that was pretty good, and that would be it. That was like the banner release for PC. And then you would just have garbage ass console ports because there was just no money in it. But since, man, it could not be more different. Which makes me wonder, like, Valve was able to carve out a space being one of the very few companies that was actually developing tools in a marketplace and like working in the PC space and actively cultivating there. Now there's tons of companies doing it. So I do wonder if Valve will be able to do the same now that they have a lot of competition who is pushing real hard. It'll be curious to see.
I do think Valve has proven that they're like operating several years ahead of most other companies, where like, you know, an Origin or EA, same company. I always get the platforms.
Uplay?
Yeah. Ubisoft's Uplay, like those were all done in response to, we don't want to pay the 20% or 30% that Valve takes out of all of our, our sales. They weren't future proofing, they were just reacting, versus Valve has the advantage of being able to set goals and long-term plans for building towards. And so they've obviously put a lot of their chips in VR, but I like to think they've got other things in the works that are going to be more diversifying for their portfolio than like all in on VR, because I don't think that would be a thing they would do. But
I was reading an article yesterday. They were talking about. They're like, like this opens up a whole another world for us to make more Half-Life games. And I know people at Valve, at least people at Valve way back when we talked to them years ago for the story that Lawrence and I did about how Half-Life 3 wasn't going to come out. When we talked to them at Valve, they were all like, we want to make more Half-Life. It's like, we want to make more games. So I'm just hoping that fire still exists there. And now that they'll encourage
it. I'm sure, seeing the responses to Alex probably reignites a lot of creative drive. I mean, what you're describing, like, I don't know when the last time a full-fledged game was released by Valve came out.
Artifact, bro.
Well, Dota 2. In which case, if it was like to go that amount of time without seeing fan art and like response to a product, and then now like going here and like seeing kind of people reacting to the like all the awesome little details in Alex would drive me as a creative, as an artist, which we've already established I am, to go make more cool stuff, or to go to my boss and say, hey, I have this really cool idea for a tool, and then that develops into a new thing.
I guess where my concern is, and I really hope that it is just as simple as like creative people get inspired and then they want to make a thing, but sorry, there's a giant pimple or something.
I tried to scroll past as fast as I could.
I appreciate it. I guess where my head is at is like, so that conversation happens. There's a creative who really wants to make Half-Life Episode 3. Let's do it this time. And then they go, and then in my fictional mind, if there is a supervisor, flat structure and all that, but whatever, if they have to go and justify like pulling together 150, 200 people, and then they talk about it with Gaben or whatever, Gaben shoves all the knives off his desk for a second, and he's like, let's talk about this. I feel like the problem would be like, okay, the case for Alex is kind of like I said before, is we build up the VR platform, we give it a booster shot, we get more index kits out there, we go out and talk to devs, we give them Source 2 with all the new VR tools, and then we build up this whole other marketplace that Epic doesn't have yet, and then we get our golden age back, where we get to set our own revenue cut. We create this market because we push the game design, we push the hardware, and then we get to take all that money too. But if they come in and say, okay, Half-Life Episode 3, it's a shooter with a mouse and a keyboard. What's the big picture?
Right.
It's like, well, there isn't one. We just really want to make it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're gonna like go make artifact cards or something. I don't know. I worry that the conversation would fall apart where they're asked to explain how this is going to earn revenue for the next 5 years.
Every example of a flat power structure that I've heard of is not actually a flat power structure. I don't think
that's right. Yeah,
that would really be supportable. I think it's more that ideas can bubble up from lower, but they need to fit within the company's trajectory and long-term goals. So what that would look like is, I, an artist, develop a amazing shader that would look amazing in Source 2. And I go to my boss and I say, hey, this thing looks awesome. I think this would actually make VR look a lot better than it does right now, because the biggest problem is pixel density, blah, blah. I don't know what I'm talking about. And then that guy says, oh my God, you're right. Let's schedule a meeting. And then I go to his boss and then his boss, and then eventually gets to Gaben. And he's like, all right, if we do end up making a new game, I can make sure it looks amazing in VR. And then he says, great. And that's like another check towards new game coming out in VR. You know, I think that's more like what's going to happen, or how it happens, is like you have to kind of fit it within, you know, a initiative that a company's taking. So, you know, initiative of we want to sell more VR, or, you know, we want to make a new platform, is then how you classify your work under.
Yep. Well, so, what you're describing is what every company does, whether or not they say they do it.
Sure.
That's exactly the way it works.
Well, it usually comes from top down. So it'd be like, you know,
right.
Hey, we need to do this. You do this. You figure out this problem, which also works. But I think in a flat structure, they try to make it more of a, you know, self-motivated, like bubble up approach. It just then has to be contextualized by, you know, profit margin or some other kind of company goal that is defendable.
That's
right. That's exactly right. What are you going to say, Lawrence?
Oh, nothing. Just basically reiterate that, yeah, it's, I guess I always have this vision that, like, I guess my vision is arbitrarily simple, is that there's one person going to one other person being like, Half-Life, and then the other person says no, and that's it. Yeah, I guess the vision that there's a lot of momentum and a lot of different ways behind one project that all kind of coalesce into a good beam is a lot more it's a lot more accurate, I feel like, and probably a lot more hopeful that more Half-Life things will happen. In a way, I guess just to focus on the here and now, how fantastic is it that, like, id Software and Valve Software, two legendary PC developers, within like 3 days have released seminal works.
It blows my mind.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
It's just so awesome.
I don't know that I can say, like, it's funny because it sounds stupid, but I want to say, like, thank you to the gaming industry and also to the shipping industry and to the people that run the internet, because what the fuck would we be doing if, like, I mean, like this, and it all happened at the best/worst possible time, because we've got, you know, basically every country's in lockdown and all this, and now people that play video games are able to play video games more than ever, and they're amazing. Speaking
of franchises that kind of defined PC gaming from like a decade ago, the new Mountain Blade is coming out in a week. I don't know why you're laughing, Bruce. This is a big deal, okay? Mountain Blade Warband came out like 2008, I think. You know, it was like 12 years or something like that. And this one is like, early access coming out in about a week. And it's, you know, has nothing to do with Source 2, but somehow they followed the same kind of, you know, development pattern. And I think they're also like going hard on like modding stuff. I don't know. It's my personal, like, one of my favorite games. So
is the original Mountain Blade pretty playable these days, would you say?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I've been streaming it a bunch. It's like, it's got a ton of mods now. I would say streaming it with a mod is pretty great. Like, you can basically, you know, there's a Game of Thrones mod, there's like Warhammer mods, Lord of the Rings mods, a Star Wars mod, and you can like play through an entire grand scale campaign in each of these universes that feels really authentic. A little janky, but also authentic.
Yeah, but like janky in the right way.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like classic mod janky, where it's still fun, but doesn't make it unplayable.
Yep.
What an exciting time.
Yeah, what are we going to do in like 2 weeks? When are we going to be playing? I guess we're going to keep playing Animal Crossing.
I'm going to play Half-Life Alyx again.
Yeah.
I kind of want to play it on hard.
I'm set for a while.
I played it on hard.
Oh, how was it?
It is hard, but not impossible. So, but like you'll have to reload saves and stuff. But in specific fights, the first half of the game isn't like that, but the latter half of the game is relatively difficult. It's not like Doom, where like when you up the difficulty on Doom, you're fucked.
Yeah,
that's it. You're just dead. But it's not that.
Oh yeah, Resident Evil 3 is coming out.
Final Fantasy 7 is coming soon.
Yes, that's April, right?
Yeah, I think that's April.
Oh my gosh, you guys! Oh my gosh, there's so much. Legend of Heroes: Trails of Cold Steel 3.
I don't know what that is. Is that Criken? Do you know what that is, Criken?
I do not know what that is, Bruce.
It's a very long running JRPG series.
Oh, okay.
So there you go. Yeah, no one cares. That's fine. But yeah, Resident Evil 3 Final Fantasy 7 Remake. Trials of Mana? Sakura Wars?
It's like I said, it sucks that we're all at home.
There was one game I want to talk about that's I think coming out tomorrow. I just played it for the first time yesterday, and it's like in the kind of beta access right now, and I think they're wiping it for tomorrow. But Last Oasis.
Right, yeah.
It's I don't know if you guys have seen a trailer of this, but I'd recommend you check it out. I saw it like a year ago and forgot it existed, and then suddenly got a message yesterday that like, oh, beta's out now and it's gonna be going early access in like 2 days. But it's basically a really original take on like a survival open world like multiplayer game. So think Ark, Rust, like whatever you want to think of.
Yeah.
But it's set in like a universe where it's like an Earth where it takes a full year for the sun to like Earth has stopped spinning basically, and so therefore the sun, it takes a full year for it to rotate all the way around to get to night. So half the Earth is in day, therefore a desert and heated, and half the day, the other side of Earth it's all frozen and night. And so because of that, society has kind of turned into nomads where they build their cities on these giant walkers that are all mechanically driven. And so it's like a survival game where you like gather sticks and shit and build like, a bike, like a robot bike. And then you get the next one and it's like, now it's a bigger robot bike, and you get the next one, and then becomes a full city that you can like have multiple people working on and living on and like, clawing its way through the wilderness. So I played it a bit yesterday, and like, it's a really original take on a survival multiplayer game. So I might be giving that a shot. It's called Last Oasis. Yeah.
Sounds like a game that I would for sure enjoy.
Definitely a lot of Sea of Thieves vibes. I think you'd like it, Bruce.
Okay. I'm going to check it out. With you though, Criken. Can we play together?
With me?
Yeah, with you.
Okay. I'm also maybe a little bit biased because the team that developed it made Warband mods back in the day. So Mountain Blade mods. So it uses the same combat system. So I'm like already really good. I didn't die to like random enemies once in when we played it last night, but you end up fighting these like corrupted monkey people, like apes. It's very much Planet of the Apes, but like in a desert.
I don't know if this is. I just saw chat say, "What about Lawrence?" And I was like, I don't know if this is Lawrence's jam or not.
Maybe.
What do you think? Is this? Do you like survival, Lawrence?
Some. I'm not a big fan of games that just rely on like grinding your way up through a resource and crafting tree, because that's.
I get that.
I punched so many trees. So many.
I feel that too. I usually just don't have time to sink into that sort of stuff. I think this one did a pretty good job of like giving a lot of small rewards to make you feel accomplished. It was like Subnautica-esque in that like, oh, because of this, I can now do this. And that felt better for me. The problem with it is it does seem like it's very prone to like griefing, where, you can easily have like a really strong, walker come out of nowhere and then kill you and take your shit. And then you're like, all right, guess I got to build another one. So I think private servers will be awesome for this. I'm a little worried about how they're going to balance public servers, but they have like a really cool server system where it takes you water to travel to a different region, as in move servers. So you gather water, you then go out on this big journey. Your character switches servers, and then once you're in a new server, different players and different environment stuff. So there's a lot of really novel ideas that make it more than just a survival game from what I saw. But again, we'll see how they work out. We definitely saw a couple griefing instances last night when we played it. So
sure you did.
Yeah.
It's the internet.
Yeah.
Was it fun griefing or was it aggravating griefing?
We ended up traveling with a huge tribe because we had all our online, like our press buddies playing. So we had like one of our friends get caught out alone. He was killed on sight. They stole all of his stuff, and then the cavalry rolled in and completely annihilated the people that killed him. So that was fun because there was more of us. But if you're ever caught out alone, it's going to be shitty. And like, there's really not a lot, it seems like, you can do in that situation. So I don't know. I'm a little worried for how they're going to deal with that stuff. It like tonally, it looks great. It feels really cool. I just think, it's going to take some balancing.
It sounds like RuneScape a little bit, where like if you were out chopping wood for hours and then somebody just rolled by, stab you in the chest, take your wood, and that was it. And you're like, well, I got to go back and get some more wood.
Yeah.
But I don't know, that I'll still give it a shot. It'll depend on how much griefing there is.
You'll feel really cool 90% of the time, and then really salty and sad 10% of the time is kind of the vibe that we felt when playing it.
Sounds like a good trade-off.
Good ratio. Yeah.
Well, we reached the end of the podcast. We've done it.
We have
all the way to the end.
We made it.
We made it.
We invented a new cult religion. What a productive day.
We talked about cults for the first half an hour.
There's a lot to talk about.
We still don't really know exactly what a cult or a religion, what the difference. The world may never know.
It wasn't for us to decide.
Yeah.
It's for me to decide.
Thanks again for joining me. I'm sorry I can't see you in person, but we'll kiss after the quarantine is over.
Okay.
Oh, after.
I promise.
Yeah. After, yeah.